Hello, I'm Michael
And I'm Jill.
for Michael and Jill's Travel Adventures.
So tonight's port we're going to be talking about is Jamaica. Jamaica is one of those ports that I do not advise you go off on your own, do an excursion on your own. Jamaica is one of those that you do a carnival or whatever company you're sailing with excursion at all times.
Yes, you basically, I don't even think you can walk out of the port like you can the other places that we've been. They've got armed guards, at least the 3 times that we've been there, got armed guards and very high fences around the ports, and basically need to be not walking. So need to be in some type of bus or automobile to get out of there.
There's not really anything close by to the port like the other ones. There's ocean nearby you can get to. There's all this stuff. Jamaica's one of those that you have to go out and a way to get to the things.
It's a good 3/4 of a mile, maybe a mile between the port and the closest thing. So you're down in a commercial type port is where the port actually is. There are some vendors just outside the the big building that you congregate under. There are some vendors inside there where you can get some candy and soft drinks and that type thing. Just outside that, if you keep going, before you get to the taxis and the buses, there are some vendors out there, so you could go buy something local from them. The last time we were there in 2018, they were very, very pushy.
Our friends who
And this
came
is, this was Montego Bay, not Ocho Rios.
And our friends that went with us, we had gone on our excursion and they just wanted to get out and shop. And I'm not sure what happened, but they felt really uncomfortable. They felt like this guy was following their daughter. She was 6 or 7 at the time. So it made them very uncomfortable that they actually left and went back to the ship. So just if you do anything there, be aware of your surroundings. Like if you're in a bad neighborhood here in the U.S., just watch what you're doing and, watch for other people at the time.
First 2 times we went, we basically booked Dunn's River Falls and Bamboo Beach Club. First time we went, got out there, got in the bus, got to the falls. Looked like it was going to rain. We're standing in line. We get down there. We go through the falls. Awesome experience. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. A lot more strenuous. A lot of rock climbing. A lot of slippery stuff. You do have to have water shoes in order to do this excursion. You are going to get completely soaked. They've got lockers for your valuables there if you want to do that. But what they did, we didn't realize this until the second time we went, but if you do the dual excursion like that, the falls and Bamboo Beach Club, they actually took us in close to the middle of the falls and let us go ahead and get in and then climb to the top. If I'm not mistaken, it's like 600 and some odd feet of falls. I'm not sure if that's the rise or if that's the length of the falls, but you can't really see the top from the bottom or even the top from the middle. So
make sure you do bring cash with you. The first time we went, unfortunately, we didn't bring cash. We didn't bring a lot of cash, and they had filmed the whole thing. I would love to have a copy of it, but unfortunately, we didn't have cash, so we weren't able to buy the film. The second time we knew, so the second time was not the best experience.
Yes. We need to talk about the beach club.
The Bamboo Beach Club was amazing. We got there, the beach is beautiful. They have chairs set up for you, and they gave us free mojitos and rum punch, and they had different samples of food from Jamaica. And you could eat as much as you want to. She would bring you a sample. If you wanted more, you just let her know. We went swimming. The water was gorgeous there. it was just, and they had stuff for sale there also that you could buy.
We only, on that particular excursion, we only had about an hour and a half at the beach club. So we were starving from climbing up the falls. So we scarfed the food down, and we were really thirsty because we hadn't brought that much to drink, and we were trying to ration the water in our bottles that we had brought in our backpacks, which we've discussed on other videos.
Well, the first time we didn't have backpacks yet. That's when I figured out we needed backpacks.
Maybe that's true. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, we got backpacks on the next cruise.
So, trying to ration what we had because we didn't want to carry a whole lot, and it was about 45-minute or an hour drive from the port to the falls and the beach club. So we had to go through Ocho Rios to get there. This was a pretty long drive. So we get to the beach club, and they're just pounding the drinks to us. We got on the bus, and we pretty much got a buzz going from all the drinks that they'd been giving us. And they brought us each 3 drinks apiece on the bus. Like, I can't hold all this alcohol in my hands. We're trying to, we ended up having to refuse some of it because there was no place to put it and no way to drink it that fast. So we ended up having to stop about halfway back because some of the people had to go to the bathroom, and then they discovered that gas station had Red Stripe beer, so they were loaded up on beer and chugging them as fast as they could between there and the port.
The second time was not the best experience for us. We actually had a newer guide, and she took us all the way to the beach, to the very bottom of Dunn River Falls. And that's not what we actually had signed up for, which my mother-in-law is very stubborn about things sometimes, and
very headstrong,
and she wanted to prove that she could do it, and it was hard to say no to her. So by the time we walked all the way down to the beach, she was already exhausted because it was a long walk. I remember looking at Michael like, I don't think this is right, but
she does have a heart issue with pacemaker / defib, so she can't get too excited, or the defib unit zaps her, so she was having to be very gentle going down the stairs and not get too.
And it was very hot that day, and she got to the first rock, and we realized there was no way she could do it. So me and her were going to walk back up and just let Michael and his son climb the falls, since they hadn't done that. His son hadn't done that. And we get to halfway, well, not even a halfway point, and we realize she is in trouble. So I run to the bathroom, I try to get a wet towel for her head and all that, and it turned really scary fast. 2 of the men there had to carry her, pretty much lift her up in her armpits, carry her down, and I had something on my bucket list I didn't realize I was going to have on it, and they had to bring an ambulance down to pick her up and drive us to where our bus was. But the issue with that was I was afraid we'd already missed them going to the Bamboo Beach Club because we had done it before, and I thought, hey, it's no big deal, and we get there and they're not there yet. I was like, crap, they leave without us, and no, our bus driver's there. He started the bus for us so she could cool off. We drank some water, and I think we sat in that bus for a good 30-40 minutes before they showed up, because that's when we realized she took them on the wrong part of Dunn River Falls. So remember, we haven't eaten since about 7 o'clock that morning, and it's 1 or 2 by then.
So they had taken us down to the very bottom of the falls, which takes an hour and a half to climb up instead of the 45 minutes that we had done on the previous time we had visited Jamaica. So by the time my son and I got back out to the bus, we didn't know where the 2 of them, Jill and my mother were, and they didn't know where we were, and we had no way of knowing exactly what was going on. So we finally get to the bus, and we regroup and everything, and we find out that because they took so long or took us to the beach and to the entire length of the falls. We did not have time to go to Bamboo Beach Club, which meant we had no food at all. So
I believe they were begging them to let us stop at McDonald's or KFC, but they didn't have time to, so basically we went back to the ship, and I think we had a guy's burger that day. But it was just, the poor girl, it wasn't her fault. She was new, and somebody should have told her, hey, this is not the right one. But it still was a wonderful memory for Michael and his son. They got to Ponda Falls together. That was neat. I got to ride an ambulance in a foreign country. I never thought that would happen.
we did get a rebate on part of the excursion since we didn't get to go to Bamboo Beach Club. Carnival reimbursed us about half of what that excursion was.
So our next excursion, one we went on, which the picture is part of it, and if you can see, there's our backpacks we talked about previously between our legs, and it's got all our stuff we need in it. But anyway, we did the bamboo raft. Is that what it's called?
The bamboo raft down the Great River.
And it was a really neat experience. We had to walk a little ways to get to the actual rafts, and you were given a gentleman, he's standing at the front of the raft, and when you first get there, he takes you down a little bit, then he gets some of that slate stuff, mix it with water, and rubs your feet a little bit and puts that on it and let it dry.
That was called jungle socks. So they take the rocks from the river, rub them together and make a paste to put that on your legs.
And he just told you a lot of the history of the place. And then he asked you if you want a drink, which, if you know me, I'm always up for one. And he made a rum punch, which he literally mixed it himself in front of us in a bottle, poured us some, and my mother-in-law and her husband were down the river a little bit, and we were able to motion to them and let them have some, and he poured us some more, and then when it was a little sip left, he had a little sip for himself. Just a nice experience. He stopped before we got to the inn and washed the socks off of us. It was just a nice, relaxing day. To be honest, it's for probably all types of people, good health, bad health, physical.
Yeah. Well, my mother was able to do that with no issues.
But it was a neat experience. They did make you wear a life vest the whole time.
The water, this was November 2018, and the water was still just really cold. I'm not sure where the water is coming from, but it was extremely cold.
I will tell you, the man said here that he depends mainly on tips. He doesn't get paid a lot an hour, so bring cash for tips. I believe we gave him $20, and he said that was a large amount for him. But it was just a really neat excursion. We had a good time with it. I would recommend doing it.
It is not as far as going to Dunn's River Falls, but we still had to go back through, if I'm not mistaken, we still had to drive through Ocho Rios to get there.
Warning in Jamaica, they do not have stoplights. Everything they do is a roundabout. And I believe it was the second time we went to Jamaica, I sat up front with the driver, and I thought I was going to lose my freaking mind, because he would get this close to a car, and they would just keep going and honk at cars if they got in their way. So be prepared. It's going to be a wild ride to get there.
A lot of people talk about how fast they drive. They drive 80 and 90 miles an hour. Their speed limit signs are actually in kilometers per hour, and they say that the speed limit there is 80 kilometers an hour. So they're really going about 40 or 45, but in those small little buses, it feels like they're really flying through there.
Another thing is, a lot of these people have a hostess on board. They want you to interact with them. I mean, I've seen it where nobody interacted with somebody. It makes their job harder. Interact, have fun. It's your vacation. You're probably never going to see these people again, except for me. That happened to me one time. But it's just a neat thing. Interact with them. Most of these people are really interesting to talk to and get to know that are doing this.
We've actually, we've seen other people. We live in a small little community of about 40 people The next closest town to us, well, our actual town is about 450 to 500. The next biggest town is a little over 3,200 people, which is about 12 miles away. We were at breakfast one morning sitting with a gentleman and his wife and got to talking about it. He's from the next town of 3,200, 12 miles down the road. And then on another cruise, my wife met someone that's lived in her hometown in Arkansas, just outside of Texarkana. So you can see people that you can meet people that you know or that you've seen before on a cruise. We took one cruise where I knew there was someone that I knew that was going to be on board with 12 other people and never ever saw them. I was looking for them all the time, never saw them.
Well, we just wanted to use this to kind of tell you our experiences with excursions. It's not to tell you what to do, it's just to help you decide. It's your vacation. Have fun, do what you want to, it's your vacation.
Just follow the rules as well, especially in the other countries. I really don't want to get locked up in a foreign country and so, have to worry about trying to get back home and that type thing. So I always make sure that we always follow the rules that we're given, and even though it's our vacation, we follow the rules like we're supposed to and have the best fun that we can have while maintaining the rules that we're given.
That's all I've got on Jamaica.
That's all I've got. I'm Michael.
And I'm Jill.
For Michael and Jill's Travel Adventures.
Bye.